My content is for 13 and up or adult collectors of the product.
Let's talk about how Hasbro's missing a big opportunity with Beyblade right now. Hello everyone, and before we continue with this video, subscribe to the channel with bell notifications on. Alright, now let's talk about Hasbro's Pro Series. Now listen, I'm sure we can talk about all the issues with Pro Series, like the pricing, the lower quality compared to TAKARA TOMY. Regardless, if I had to choose between a QD, QS, or anything else that's not a Pro Series release from Hasbro, I'm most likely picking a Pro Series release. Because at the very least, even if they're kind of low effort for what they're doing, it's better than garbage. Which, that brings us to the topic of this thing, an opportunity that's missed with Pro Series. I think aside from the fact how they do this stuff, like for Hasbro, they're basically releasing waves on waves, but there are months gaps. And I feel like for starters, on the topic of starters, I'm on fire for segues today. On the topic of starters, I feel like Pro Series releases don't need to be paired up with ripcords. They can just do singles of Pro Series. One, because let's be honest now, someone answer honestly in the comments. In general, with starter releases, what would you rather get? A single or a starter? The difference is just one has a launcher and one doesn't. I personally am under the belief that with how long we've been going, that we don't need it, or at the very least, they don't have to make it every single release that is a starter, and we can have singles. And if we have more singles, we have more opportunities and more slots that can be taken for Pro Series, and the gap won't feel as bad. Now, here's something I really think has been Hasbro's peak in terms of creativity and ideas. Hasbro exclusives. What a Hasbro exclusive basically is that it's a release that was not done by TAKARA TOMY and it was done by Hasbro. Now, if Hasbro were to do this for a Pro Series release, any one of them, that would be big. Now, obviously, would this actually happen? No, because Hasbro's made it very clear that they want to be as cheap as possible. That's why, for an example, with Quad Strike and Quad Drive, and in general, it's the
biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Business is business for them. However, why I think it is a very good idea is that while they would have to go through a lot of effort, it is something that I could not see selling poorly. If anything, there are only benefits to doing this. For starters, let's go over one of the issues that could potentially happen, and then after I'll get to all the pitching stuff, which is the idea of what are they going to do for stuff like teeth. So let's take a release for an example, like Inferno Salamander. Now listen, I'll probably have a box edited image on here in a second, but let's say for an example they want to try to make new teeth. Well, here's what they can do. Just recycle teeth. Recycle part of it from other stuff. This could literally just have maybe like Fafnir teeth or Longinus teeth. This is an easy, cost-effective method that could be more likely way that they could do production for this stuff. And honestly, I would not care if they wanted to reuse teeth for this stuff. Now, for my example, for let's say an Inferno Salamander Pro Series release, you would have like Sting, it could be like the red that was from that set, and you could have that blue Operate Dash, and you have the So Waits and Bada Bing Bada Boo. You basically have a solid release for it. While they would still have to go through more of an effort for maybe certain things and certain gimmicks they would have to create, I still think it would be awesome because for starters, it will now feel like a new TT release that TT never did, and it just will have not only that special feeling that they always have had, regardless of good or bad, but now it's gonna actually feel like a new release and like new content that feels good. Now, here's where the other stuff comes in, which is in terms of slots. So now I want to go over my picks for the series. Like, let's start off with Turbo/Slingshot. And obviously, we're under the assumption that they will make sure that it's less hull load, less weaknesses, whatever. Okay, so with Slingshot, number one on my list would have to be Balar. Now, what I was thinking for parts with Balar could definitely just be as simple as them throwing in some random disc like 6 or whatever. It doesn't even have to be like, honestly, the discs and the frames for that one doesn't even really matter. Maybe they could do throw in 3 in hit or reach or whatever other parts they're missing. But for the performance tip, they could just recycle a spiral or honestly, whatever they want to throw there. I do not care. The next one I would definitely want would be Typhon. I think it's got a really funny shape, and it'd be so interesting to see that made into an actual pro release with metal. And imagine these with actually metal, not just no metal, with actually metal. And then after for my third pick, I thought of maybe Marigna, honestly. And Marigna, I am thinking they would probably just give like a Pro Series release for like Loop or something. That would be pretty easy for them to do. Okay. Then after, obviously, for Rise, Shield Kerbeus. It's a must. What I was thinking they could definitely do, they could throw in something like Hurricane, because we didn't get Hurricane. And maybe like keep Dash or something. Or they could throw in, I guess, regular Yard. I honestly don't really mind too much. I've already mentioned Salamander, but actually one I was actually thinking for Hypersphere to represent, if I had to pick a third one, Monster Ogre. I think Ogre, for starters, having just this really nice shape, it would be so interesting just to see them actually do it, and I would definitely be there for it. Then after for Speedstorm, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because I hate it. Wow, okay. So my only option is Sphere. And then after, as we make our way into Quad Drive, here's what I was thinking for QD. I think Katana Muramasa is 100% one they would have to do. And
Not even just that, I would even argue that they could do metal swords for the thing. That would be sick. And in general, for Quad Drive, I'm gonna be honest, I'll take almost anything from QD. Just my main ones would be like Katana and maybe like Stone Nemesis, Gilded Baldurov. I don't know, just really hoping they could also do things like the QD discs. Like, those discs are obviously too light and hollowed, but if they could make it heavier, plus 30G, that'd be sick. I'd also want to add as well, like, there's also QS, like, more or less really the same for any of the exclusives. I think it'd be very interesting to see, if, regardless of performance, obviously hoping they would include some gimmicks to them. I think I should just also mention it's not just they make it work with TT, but it's also like they're adding maybe some gimmicks to them.
let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what are your picks and why and what parts you would give them. Maybe pick like 3, 3, 3 and tell me your combinations. I thought this was very fun to do just because, you know, generally with Hasbro and how it is to talk about, it's never that much fun. So I thought, hey, cool topic of discussion.
And as we're ending off, make sure to check out our shop. This is an optional way to support the channel. We have Chained Kerbeus, we got Ultimate Valkyrie, Wind Knight, and other deals. We also have pre-orders for any other releases, right? It's an optional way to support the channel. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and bye!